LSB Feasters Radio Channel and Travel Corner, where our mission in life is to keep great radio from the past alive, and today we're featuring the radio station that started it all, or at least we're always told that, 1020 KDKA Pittsburgh and legendary air talent Art Pallan. Art, from the time he was a kid, knew that he wanted to be on the radio. In fact, when he graduated high school and took a job with Procter Gamble, during his lunch hour, he would take the time to watch the jocks at WWSW and KDKA. He tried and tried to get hired, and finally, he landed a job at WWSW. And while he was there, he was mentored by Bill Cullen. Now, Bill Cullen, who was on the staff at WWSW, finally made the big time and became a game show host, getting national attention. Well, Pallan learned a lot from him, and eventually in 1956, he got hired at KDKA, and he stayed here. He became popular. He did the midday show for many years, and his trademark was his white goatee and his brightly colored Hawaiian shirts. Anyway, Pallan eventually moved to mornings to join sidekick Bob Trow. And the morning show was called Pallan and Trow 2 for the show. It debuted in fall of 1965 and ran through April 1968. And at the time, KDKA said they wanted to change direction in the mornings, and they brought in Jack Bogut from Salt Lake City. Pallan then returned to the midday show, where he continued to do his thing until he retired in February 1985. Now, there's not a lot of MOR air checks or full service air checks out here, so I'm glad we have this one from the 1960s. And you will notice in this air check, KDKA sounds a lot like its sister station, WBZ in Boston. I wonder why. Anyway, I got to thank Doug Allen for this air check. He passed it along to me. And if you like what you hear, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel too if you like. And after you do, smack that bell. And you will be notified whenever we post anything new. All right, it's 1969, and you're listening to Art Pallan on KDKA 1020 Pittsburgh.
This is KDKA. Group W, Westinghouse Broadcasting for Pittsburgh, and this is Jack Wheeler, hoping you'll listen to my show from midnight till 6 a.m. right here on KDKA.
Good afternoon. This is Loran Mann for KDKA News. At 1 o'clock, the temperature is 29 degrees. KDKA's official forecast predicts steady to slowly falling temperatures this afternoon. We'll take a look at the weather forecast following the news. The Institute of Real Estate Management sharply criticized the city of Pittsburgh today for the proposed hike in real estate taxes. The Institute also promised to help the city find other ways of raising the necessary funds to finance itself during the upcoming year. The president of the organization, Louis Egelberg, explained.
I sent the following telegram to the president of City Council, City of Pittsburgh. We are shocked and frightened by the irresponsible actions of the city councilmen in their determination to tax the property owner and to tax out the city and the tenant out of the city of Pittsburgh. We urge you to reconsider this confiscatory action before dealing the death blow to the owners and tenants of this city. We implore you not to destroy real estate values by further escalation of the tax load. The increased assessments, coupled with millage increases, can only lead to disaster for all peoples involved. The Institute of Real Estate Management is available to seek other ways and means of developing the required revenue to operate this city. Please avail yourself of these talents. Signed, the Institute of Real Estate Management, Louis Engelberg, President.
Engelberg also warned that if City Council adopts the proposed real estate tax increases, rental rates will increase possibly 15%. He added that he has advised the property owners to economize as much as possible. Pittsburgh City Council will resume this afternoon. The councilmen will be seeking ways to finance Pittsburgh during the next fiscal year. Their problems were increased last night when the State House downed a bill that would have allowed the city to double its occupation tax. This action by the State House caused a $3 million hole to form in the city's record $101 million budget for next year. In Harrisburg, legislators are still working on the state's fiscal mess. We get details from Group W's and KDKA's Harrisburg Bureau Chief, Sandy Starobin.
Compromise attempts at reaching a tax package before the end of the year 1969 have apparently collapsed again. Senate Democrats and Republicans are due to return to the Senate chamber momentarily after apparently fruitless caucuses. Reportedly, Senate Democrats may bring to a vote 6 business tax bills, the same bills that were defeated last night when they were sponsored by the Republican side. When the Democrats bring them up, the bills will be upgraded, more money added. To pass, the bills will need Republican support. At this moment, Republican support for the higher business taxes is problematical. So far, the sticky situation in the Senate continues unabated. This is Sandy Starobin on the floor of the State Senate in Harrisburg.
All 5 of the French-made gunboats have arrived at the Israeli port of Haifa. They sailed from a French port Christmas morning. 2 vessels were the first to tie up. The 3 others did so later. The crews, wearing civilian clothes, were met by their families and relatives. They refused to meet with newsmen. The Israeli oil company, which is primarily concerned with the vessels, said a news conference will be held later. The boats reportedly will be used in connection with an Israeli-American oil drilling venture in the Mediterranean Sea. Meanwhile, Israeli warplanes staged another raid on Egyptian positions along the Suez Canal today. The bombing and strafing of artillery and anti-aircraft sites along the southern sector of the canal was carried out over an 80-minute period. Vice President Spiro Agnew is to visit Vietnam tomorrow. He'll arrive in Saigon for a 10-hour visit. He's now in the Philippines. In the war zone, a shaky ceasefire is in effect. But before the Allied ceasefire went into effect, U.S. officials said 3 Americans and some 250 communist troops were killed in some of the heaviest fighting in a month. A second U.S. soldier faces court-martial in connection with the alleged My Lai massacre. He's Staff Sergeant David Mitchell, who's to be tried on charges of assault with intent to commit murder of some 30 Vietnamese civilians. Returning to the local scene, the county commissioners are saluting outgoing Mayor Joseph Barr today on his last day in office as mayor of the city of Pittsburgh. The ceremony is being held in the gold room of the courthouse. On Wall Street at 1 o'clock, the Dow Jones Industrials were up 482, the volume 11,350,000 shares. Now the weather for Pittsburgh and vicinity, KDKA's official forecast. Windy and colder with snow flurries this afternoon and steady or slowly falling temperatures. Diminishing winds and colder tonight with a chance of snow flurries, the low 22. New Year's Day, variable cloudiness and cold with a high of 28. The probability of precipitation 40% tonight and 20% Wednesday. The present temperature is 29 degrees. The relative humidity 75%. The top news story at this hour. The Institute of Real Estate Management says that rental rates in the Pittsburgh area will increase if City Council approves the proposed increase in real estate taxes. You've been listening to the KDKA News at 1, portions pre-recorded. The next scheduled KDKA News at 2 o'clock this afternoon. This is Loran Mann, KDKA News. Just about 6 minutes past the hour of 1 o'clock, we'll take a look at more music on the Art Pallan Show after a KDKA editorial.
Here is a KDKA editorial by Group W Vice President Edward Wallace.
More than a year ago, we pointed out the need to provide a way out for the drug addict. We noted then the alarming increase in the use of narcotics, and we note now that the problem is growing. It's not being solved. Drug addicts can be cured, and we know that many of them want to be cured. We must provide hope and help to them. There's been too much talk and too little action. What few programs are in existence are pitifully inadequate. A major reason for this lack of action is that there are too many cooks, all hopefully trying to help, but there is no one really in charge. Just to name a few of the official agencies which are concerned, there are the District Attorney's Office, the County Health Department, the new Mental Health and Mental Retardation County Board, the police, the Coroner's Office, and other enforcement officials in more than 100 communities. These are just at the county and city level. At the state level, there are the State Department of Health, the Department of Welfare, the Department of Public Instruction, the Department of Corrections, the State Police, and the State's Attorney General. But no one is in charge. The drug problem is not isolated to one community. It's statewide, even national in scope. we suggest that Governor Schaefer call a statewide meeting of all the people involved in solving the problem of drug abuse. These would include educators at the college and secondary levels, religious leaders, medical and psychological experts, law enforcement officials, county and state health officials, and all the others concerned about the growing drug addiction. By coordinating our knowledge and concentrating on the legal, moral, and social aspects of drug addiction, we may find the weapons which we can combat this growing problem with.
This has been a KDKA editorial by Group W Vice President Edward Wallace. You may comment on this editorial or obtain a copy of it by writing to KDKA, Pittsburgh 15222. KDKA recognizes its duty to present responsible opinion on all sides of important public issues. Our editorial policy aims to help our listeners to a better understanding of those issues.
It's 8 minutes after 1. More music in the Art Pallan Show with the greatest of the 60s. Big Girls Don't Cry, one of the tremendous hit songs of the 60s by the Four Seasons, and presented today on the Art Pallan Show at 10 and a half minutes after 1 o'clock. Well, the weather seems to be improving. We've had a little bit of snow, not any accumulation in Pittsburgh. By the way, that was a hit song of 1962. Oh, you knew that, did you, huh? But it's windy and colder with snow flurries this afternoon, steady or falling temperatures to an overnight low of about 22. 29 degrees in Pittsburgh. And you remember a song, it wasn't too many months ago, actually, that this came out by the Bee Gees, I Started a Joke. I Started a Joke by the Bee Gees.
Today, millions of parents want something better for their children. They want them to go to college to become the new movers and doers of our society. This is Jack Bogut. You know, tuition bills don't pay for their education. As a matter of fact, only about 1/3 of the costs for education are paid for by tuition alone. This makes higher education a real bargain, but it also makes it a great concern. With costs rapidly multiplying, most colleges and universities are faced with a financial crisis. They need money. The Council for Financial Aid to Education reminds you to contribute to the college of your choice. And do it today.
KDKA time is 15 minutes after 1 o'clock.
1020 KDKA Pittsburgh.
The most popular band of the 60s, the Tijuana Brass. Ole! The Lonely Bull from 1962 by the Tijuana Brass.
Kelly and Cohen stays open New Year's Day from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. with a New Year's Day sale. Pass it on.
Kelly and Cohen stays open New Year's Day from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. with a New Year's Day sale. Pass it on.
Right. Kelly and Cohen is open New Year's Day with a brand new 1970 New Year's Day sale. And listen to some of the savings Kelly and Cohen passes on to you. You can get a General Electric Portacolor TV and a deluxe black and white personal size portable TV. Get both for $228.
Both for $228.
You can get a GE Deluxe console stereo with AM/FM multiplex and a GE Portify with transmitter and receiver. Get both for $238.
Both for $238.
Oh, okay, fellas, let's hear it loud and clear now for Kelly and Cohen's New Year's Day sale.
Loud and clear now.
For Kelly and Cohen's New Year's Day sale. Pass it on.
Right. All 15 area Kelly and Cohen stores pass on big savings to you tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. during New Year's Day sale. It's now 18 and a half after 1 o'clock, and we're playing the best of the 60s for you on KDKA. Here's another one by Kathy Young from 1960, 1,000 Stars. Maybe one of the more popular, but certainly not one of the better records. That by Kathy Young, 1,000 Stars. It's 22 minutes after 1.
This is a test. For the next 60 seconds, this station will conduct a test of the emergency broadcast system. This is only a test. This has been a test of the emergency broadcast system. The broadcasters of your area, in voluntary cooperation with the FCC and other authorities, have developed this system to keep you informed in the event of an emergency. If this had been an actual emergency, you would have been instructed where to tune in your area for news and official information. This concludes this test of the emergency broadcast system.
KDKA, Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh.
This is Art Pallan. If you need reason to be grateful for your own good health, think of those not so well blessed. For instance, children with birth defects, children born blind, born deaf, born crippled. Will they ever be well enough to be grateful? Why not give them a hand? Give to the March of Dimes.
KDKA, Pittsburgh.
We have a turnpike advisory for you from Gateway to New Jersey, mostly cloudy and wet with some light snow in the Somerset area. Northeast extension of the turnpike, cloudy and wet. So if you're going to be doing some traveling, we pass that along to you. We have something else here, George? Oh, yes, there are going to be some folks going to do some skiing over the weekend, a long weekend for many. Bear Rocks has 6 to 20-inch base, skiing conditions, good. Blue Knob, 10 to 60. Boyce Park, 10 to 12 base. Seven Springs, 32 to 36 base. Woo-wee! And they have mixed rain and snow, and it's icy. Yeah, that's been the condition that we've had around this area for the last 24, even more than that, 24 hours or more, where we had a decent amount of snow accumulation, and then the rain on top of that, a crust of ice over top of all of it. And as you start walking along and you crunch through it, and I remember as a kid, sometimes you'd be going through there and then you'd cut your legs. You remember that? Sure. Well, this is the kind of thing that is going to bring back some memories, or will be the memory time for a lot of the kids today. They're when they become adults in the future, they'll be looking back on these days as the days when they were cutting their legs. That's terrible. What do? Wear certain kind of boots, I guess, or just stay in until it clears up. Every member of the family will find an added attraction of interest in the Pittsburgh press this Sunday. 2 new features will make their debut in the press Sunday, a comic strip, The Wizard of Id, and the famous authors series. And the family's financier will find complete year-end stock tables. If it's a laugh you're looking for, you're sure to enjoy the wacky, wonderful comic strip called The Wizard of Id, which will appear daily and Sunday in the press comics pages. The famous authors series will appear regularly in Roto magazine. It will include such writers as Philip Wiley, McKinley Cantor, Irving Wallace, John Kenneth Galbraith, and many more. The first article this Sunday, called Is White America Turning Yellow, was written by Mr. Wiley, who authored A Generation of Vipers and other bestsellers. And if you're a stockholder, you'll want to scrutinize the year-end stock tables, which will appear in Sunday's press also. Now, these tables will come in handy when you start to figure your gains and losses for income tax purposes or plan future investments. Be sure to get Sunday's press. Call 263-1121 for press home delivery. The hit from 1961 by Bobby B.
'Cause you've taken her away.